Well, I guess, first, let's go back to June 17th. Tell me a little bit about where everyone was, what you were doing.
June 17th, Carl had been on a business trip for a couple days and just gotten back from Chicago, and so, and my mom was out of town, and so my dad was interested in going out for dinner. So Henry and I went out for supper with Grandpa, and Carl didn't want to go because he had just gotten home, and Maggie didn't want to go because there was a good show on TV.
Henry didn't want my dad at home.
Yeah, he gets lonely, doesn't he? And so they decided to stay home, and Henry and I left, went out for supper, and then had stopped at a friend's house, and that's where we were during the tornado, and Karl and Maggie were under the steps. Good spot for them.
Yeah. So you guys never made it to dinner?
We did. It was after supper.
After, okay.
Yeah, we were in Clarksville at the poorhouse for supper, and the sirens were going off while we were there, but the weather wasn't bad at that point. I mean, it didn't seem bad.
Right.
But then we went actually just around the corner from here. Some good friends of ours live, and so we were in their basement. And Carl called and said the weather's looking kind of nasty, and we don't have sirens out there, and so you should just stay where you are, and And then he called back and said they lost power. And
you don't have sirens out there?
There's not sirens outside the city limits.
No.
And so now we have a weather radio. We didn't have one before, but now we got a weather radio, and they work quite nicely. But yeah, so he called back and said, it's kind of bad. You should go in the basement. I said, you should go in the basement, because he never does. He goes outside and watches. But he's like, yeah, I'm gonna. Well, little did I know that he was trying to hang up the phone with me so that they could go to the basement, but he didn't want to alarm me. Mm-hmm. And so I was saying, on and on and on, going, seriously, you need to get downstairs and quit looking out the window, and you need to get down there. It's like, okay. So then they finally went down, and then the next call I got was about 10 minutes later, probably.
Yeah, it was probably about 10, maybe 15 minutes.
We're walking across the field. It's gone. The house, the barn, the shop, everything, it's gone. And it took me about 5 minutes to figure out that he meant it.
Yeah.
He wasn't kidding. I thought he was joking. I mean, who really? That doesn't happen.
So, Carl, from your viewpoint...
Well, we were sitting at home. We got home, Angie and Henry left. And it was probably an hour and a half later. The power ended up going out. And she had called me, and Tom, the place she was at, said on the scanner whatever, there was a tornado on the ground southeast of Alton. Well, that's kind of the right track for us. So I told Maggie to stay in the kitchen by me, and that's when I was talking to Angie. And you could watch the trees outside change directions like 4 or 5 times in 30 seconds. So we grabbed our coats and shoes, headed down to the basement. I went out in the garage, grabbed the flashlight, and the garage doors were dancing all over. Got down the basement, and we were standing down by the basement steps a couple minutes before we got underneath the steps. And I got underneath the steps, and she started creaking and groaning, and next thing you know, everything was gone. You could look right up at the sky.
So, were you guys easily able to get out?
Yeah, we walked right up the steps.
Okay.
And we walked up the steps, and we could see the tornado to the north of us, and see the neighbor's place is still standing, so we headed that way. Got over there and got a hold of Angie and got a hold of my folks, and they came and got me and Maggie and kind of regrouped at Angie's mom and dad's, and headed back out there.
So when you got out, you actually saw the tornado going north.
Yeah, it was probably a half mile, 3/4 mile north of us.
So then you got over back to the house about what time did you say?
Well, yeah, so we went...
Tornado hit us at 7:04 is what 2 clocks were stopped.
Yeah, 7:04. And so we were still at our friend's house, and another friend of ours came and picked us up. Decided that probably it would not be smart for us to be driving. And so came and got us and took us to my mom and dad's, and Carl and his parents met us there. And then, so we got out to the house at
8:30.
I suppose.
I suppose.
Yeah, because we put the kids to bed. And then Carl and his friend left earlier, and I stayed. We put the kids down, and then our dads and me came home. Mm-hmm. His mom stayed with the kids. They had already been out. Oh yeah, they had been out there for 2 hours. And so, yeah.
So the kids were at...
Grandma.
They were at my mom's, yeah.
Okay.
They didn't go out there until the next day. It seemed like about midnight. We got out there. There was already, 20 people there. waiting for us. Checking
A
out.
bunch of friends and family
Yeah.
heard that it got hit and went out there right away.
Heard about it or heard it on scanners or something.
Yeah.
So, I remember from the pictures, just pretty much
Oh yeah.
debris.
Mm-hmm. It was just a pile.
There was, none of the buildings were any higher than 8 feet,
Yeah.
and they were kind of just stacked up in layers.
The house was probably, yeah, probably 8, 10 feet.
Yeah. Like the house went in a northeast direction, the barn went southwest, the shop went northwest, the little farm crib silo went kind of straight west. So everything kind of was different directions the way it was laid out. And there's still probably 75 trees, I suppose, still standing there.
Right now, yeah,
Probably lost about 200, I suppose.
probably. Yeah.
So, what happened then the next day?
So then the next day we got up and
Well, my brother Sean, he has a skid steer. He was down there by 6 o'clock the next morning opening the driveways up. And then Andy Seitzer from Southern Minnesota Landscape, he called me at about 8 o'clock and asked me if I needed any equipment because he had heard we got hit. And then he was out there with his pay loader and his little Bobcat hole. And then about 10:30, Troy Finley from Pre-Burn Construction called me, which they got a lot bigger equipment, and he wanted to know what he could do. And I called him back about an hour later. He brought out their big hole, a 58,000 pound hole, and started cleaning up.
Jeff Thurston.
And Jeff Thurston was out there with his skid steer.
So we had a lot of
We had
heavy
probably
equipment.
30 to
Probably
40, 50 people there
50
every
people.
day for the weekend, and
yeah. I got out there probably later than you. I think it was probably 8:30 or 9 by the time I got out there, and there was already. Well, I guess on Friday it was that early. There was probably 10 or 20 people, but then as the day progressed, the people got off work, and then over the weekend when people weren't working, yeah, there were at least 50 people there. I was night.
So how long did it take to get it cleaned up?
by Saturday afternoon about 3 o'clock we had all the buildings in a pile.
Started the fire with then. Oh, didn't.
Yeah. Had everything piled up, and then it was just picking up little pieces of debris after that, which was never ending.
Had the insurance been out there by that point?
Insurance was there by 8 o'clock in the morning.
On Friday morning.
We had talked to our agent that night, and because we wanted to know if we could start cleaning up before the adjuster got there, and he says, from what I'm told of your place, yeah, go ahead, take some pictures. We got there, and the agent stepped out of his car, and he just said, yeah, that's total loss.
Yeah.
Because I just need to walk around and take pictures for the records, go ahead and do whatever you want to do. So,
Yeah, and we had a different agency for our car and
Right.
boat, but they came out too within the first day, I think.
yeah.
So how many cars did you lose?
I had a pretty new car. We had just gotten it.
About
And
a year prior.
yeah, so Carl told me that I should take his truck because the weather was supposed to be kind of bad and if there's going to be hail damage or something. So we lost my car. The house fell on it. But yeah, just the house, or I mean that car
House
and
and a boat.
boat.
Boat we bought a month and a half before.
The car ran, didn't it?
Yeah.
My car could still run. It could move, but it was just pretty big damage.
Yeah, it was caved in pretty bad.
I was pretty scared when it was all happening, but the next day, I was pretty excited finding all the things that I had lost earlier.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the things I had lost in the house, I had been finding. And it was just amazing to be finding everything all over again.
Yeah, you were excited about that.
What kinds of things did you find?
We found I had like this big dog. I got it when I was about 3, and we
A dog?
found that one.
Dog.
Dog.
A big, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we found like big pieces of my loft bed. We found like the ladder and the big X at the side.
We didn't keep that though.
No. No, it's too small for that.
But you did keep some things?
Yeah, we got like my dog and I think
Baby blanket.
Found a bunch of your pictures. A lot of your clothes.
The clothes are still salvageable?
We found a lot of our clothes.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much anything that was pliable. You know, if it can have a wall laying on top of it,
Yep.
we could pull it out. And then people, a lot of volunteers took stuff. We got a ton of totes, well, probably
Yeah, we probably had
150
100
totes.
totes.
And people would take the laundry and take it home or take it to the laundromat and wash it and bring it back for us. So that was super
That
helpful.
was huge.
Yeah. It was nice because then, we had something to wear the next day and could not have to worry about going shopping immediately.
That's nice.
And
Oh, no.
we didn't have to wear grandma's and take some clothes.
Yeah, we did take some of Grandma's clothes, didn't we?
Well, at least you did.
Yeah, you didn't.
Not really.
Was it Friday? Yeah, it was Friday. We were sitting there and all of a sudden there was half a dozen people working on the front lawn and I went up to Angie and I said, who are those guys? She goes, I don't know.
People don't
And it was people from Home Depot. That was what, half a dozen?
There were 6, I think there were 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah.
And they came from all over. They were from,
There was one guy from southern Iowa
Yeah.
that drove up through the storm. He was coming to an overly store for a reason and then this happened and never went to the store and he just come out and worked.
Home Depot has a policy as a store, as a company, that in the event of tragedy, they'll allow as many workers as they can that sign up that want to go help with a traumatic event. And so, yeah, there were several of them. And they, troopers, they worked and cut down trees and, cut up the branches and brought their own lunches and totally self-sufficient. I think they said, do you mind if we clean this part up?
Right.
And, just took care of themselves and just amazing.
And like Jake's Pizza brought pizzas out to us.
Yeah,
You
Jake's
had
Pizza.
Salvation Army, the Red Cross. Them guys, I kept telling them we had so much food coming in from other people, and I'm like, don't even bother stopping. Just keep on, find
Yeah.
somebody else that needs it. And he goes, nope, we'll see you in about an hour.
Yeah.
And so we're still gonna stop. So.
And they would every time drop off a case of water or
Gatorade.
Gatorade. We had so much Gatorade. It was so nice though. I mean,
Me and Henry, we just got packed with all food. And
You
we
did.
had cousins in at the time when it was happening. And we all just stuffed down food. We just ate everything. There was cookies
probably sick.
and
Yeah.
there was
Mostly
Pepsi and Coke, and we just stuffed it all down.
Oh.
it was kind of for the workers.
We were supposed to be going on vacation on Saturday,
Oh.
and her family, well, her sister was on the way already from Norfolk, Virginia, and then her other sister and husband were on the way from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah, they stopped and stayed overnight because they were supposed to be coming Thursday night, and so they stopped in Des Moines.
Yeah.
And
No, they were
Or
going
somewhere.
by Mason City.
They were- yeah,
They
they
got almost to Lake Milton turned around
yeah,
because it was so nasty.
it was bad. So they stayed overnight and then they came up first thing Friday morning.
We found our twins tickets.
Yeah, we had twins tickets that we had won through a raffle at Karl works at Blue Ridge from work, and we found my desk. My desk was in the living room. I just had, and the top of it looked like it just flipped upside down. So I found my bill box with all of my paid and unpaid bills. We found we had a fireproof little like briefcase size that had our marriage license and all of that stuff. We found that.
And you found
Passports.
$500 bill.
And we found $500. I had money in my bill box,
Yeah.
cash that we were going to take with on vacation. We found that.